Hey guys, just having a look at Bitcoin here today. So, topic today is, will Bitcoin break to new highs, to new all-time highs, or will there be a double top? So my honest opinion, I'll give you my honest opinion from a day trading perspective, from a daily point of view. We're on the day chart. Each bar is 1 day. So from a daily point of view, my honest opinion, it could go either way at this point. From a day trading point of view, you could go either way because we could see a breakout here, but there has been strong bearish momentum and there has been some bearish momentum starting on the daily. The RSI is a little bit high and there is some divergence here. It hasn't fully crossed up, but there is some divergence here. If we zoom out a little bit, there's divergence. There is divergence. Oh, I did see it. I think it's on the 4 hour. Yeah, it's on the 4 hour. So there is divergence to negative infinity. Basically, we have a peak here, higher. So our price closed higher. And we did have some movement to the downside for the default MACD. So that right there, that is divergence to negative infinity. But is that something to just go off? It's not. So there is a possibility with all the pump going on, like this could break out, right? But just back to a day trading perspective from the daily chart. So there is room for this to go down, but there is a little bit of room for it to go up as well. But the probability though from this short eventually happening, so let's just take it back to the monthly frame. The monthly frame is absolutely ridiculously volatile. So I'll remove those lines. But you can see how volatile this was. So let's just have a look at the last run, right? Where did we push up this volatile? Here, right here. This is where it started. November 1st, 2017. We got up and above that blue band. There was a month after that that shot up. Look, we're just above, like if you look at that, it went up above that blue band. Look where we are now. It went above that blue band. So honestly, I think there's a lot of room back down to the EMA 9. That's the EMA 9, that white line. It's at 30,000. So there is some room to go down there for at least a retrace. But as far as red monthly candles, there has been none. There hasn't been any red monthly candles yet. As you can see in the last run, there was a series, like there'll be a few greens and a red. A few greens and a red. Look where we are. We've had several green and no red. There's always going to be a bearish phase eventually when profit taking starts, when banks start to liquidate, when funds start to liquidate, when profit taking happens. Weak hands, not really so much weak hands, but definitely like when profit taking starts. But as you can see, I'll just point it out. Not a lot of people use monthly charts, so I get a lot of angry messages and stuff like on StockTwits or whatever. But like you can see that monthly support is like way down there, right? We're talking about, that's probably even high, like we're talking about like the upper 13s. Look, at most left candle, at most left red candle. Where is it? It's right here. Way down there. So if this starts shorting, this is gonna go deep. So would I buy here? I would not. That's risky. That's gambling. Like I wouldn't buy here. That's really risky. Like people buying here today, earlier, expecting a breakout. Like it's possible. It's possible for a breakout, right? We've been having a huge bull run. It's definitely being pumped in the news. It's being pumped everywhere, right? But it's also possible for a double top, right? there is, from a day trading perspective, there is some room back down to that yellow band, back to around 50K. And I think if we get down there, we could probably push it back down there, right? But I'm just saying, like, be careful if you're trying to buy here, because it's definitely risky to be buying. Like, why would you buy when it's overbought, right? Think about it. Why would I buy if it's overbought? Like, it can just come back down at any time. You could lose everything. People putting their whole house on this, right? Why would you bet your whole house on a trade that could just go wrong because it's being pumped in the news? That's what the media does, right? They're buying, so they want to pump it up. They don't care whether you lose or win, honestly. They're just trying to pump it up. So all that news and stuff it's really bad. But you can see here there's weekly divergence. This is a really good example of weekly divergence. So weekly divergence is strong. And I'll show you something else. We didn't even have weekly divergence last time. But you can see there is some weekly divergence here. Definite weekly divergence. Here's the last run. Just one more time. There wasn't even any weekly divergence there. Look, nothing. Lower peak, higher peak, nothing. And it still came down. Not saying, it's 2017 again, but it's possible. Look how high that got. It got real high. Look at that cycle. Up, down, pushes to the top bounce, sells off. Pushes up to the top bounce, sells off back to the EMA9, back to that center line. And eventually, push too high, eventually what goes up must come down, right? Look, pushes up way high, crosses down that EMA9, closes below that EMA9 fully, and we just continue to dump for like 3 years. There is some trading opportunities along the way, but I'm just saying, from like top to bottom, that's a long time. You can get caught here. This is risky. Like, there's a lot of new people investing here. They're putting everything on it just because they think Bitcoin can go up, right? Like, they're getting hyped in from all the news. So it's possible for a breakout. My honest opinion. I'm not just a bear. Like, I'll tell you. Like, I'm a bull too, right? When it's time to buy, like, I'll tell you. But there is a lot of downside momentum. Like, this is starting to diverge. Eventually, this is going to cross back down, and it's going to close. We already closed below that overbought zone on the weekly. We closed below. That's not a good sign. And there's divergence here. See, look, 70 is my bounds, right? That's at 70. We close below at 67 point something. 481 or 43, I think. And we close below. That's not a good sign. For a weekly candle to close below, it's not a good sign, because that's when it starts to rotate back. It wants to go back to oversold from there. But you can see from a monthly look, we haven't even crossed below there at all. So you can see how much room there is to the downside. So that's why I've been saying, like, I say on stock twits, like, be careful, and I get all these angry messages. Like, I can't even say them on YouTube. They're so bad and they're so, like, terrible. Like, but yeah, like, it's just risky to buy here. But my honest opinion is, could we break to the upside? Yeah, we could. But would we come down eventually? Of course we would. So that's just my honest opinion. I hope that helps. Well, I guess we'll just go over a couple more things before the time runs out. So there is some, from a day trading perspective, there is some momentum starting to the downside. We can see we've come up above that EMA9. Could we continue up a bit? Yes, we could. But could we also continue? Yes, we could. Bearish momentum, though. We have some bearish momentum and that 4-hour divergence we were talking about to the downside. It's kind of hard to see because I have all these lines. I'll remove them. But there is one right, where was it? I think it's back here. Yeah, so it's higher peak. So it's peak to peak, right? Lower peak to higher peak. And we got, so price moves up while momentum moves down. So I'll just draw it again to be clear. So momentum's moving down, price is moving up. that's, that's called bearish divergence. Or I say it to negative infinity. It's the same thing. That's all coming from the weekly. Like that's starting to diverge. And there's a big one on the monthly, but you could say that it's not an exact peak to peak, I would call it, but it is kind of like overbought peak to overbought peak. Because look, that goes down, and this goes way up. That's risky. Like that's straight up risky. Like that can just fall. So anyone buying here, just note that you're taking big risks. This is a very risky trade. Extremely risky. I would never buy here. This is ridiculous. You don't buy here, you buy here. At most you buy here at that center line. Like that's even dumb. You definitely want to buy here. You want to buy there, or you want to buy there. You don't want to buy in here. It's all risky. It can come down. This is just a lucky break. Look what happened last time. We came up and we came straight down. In 2017, look, the big run we had. So I guess obviously we're having a big run this time. Look, up, super volatile, and what do you think just happens? It gets sold off, right? The whale's going to take profit eventually. They can buy back so much lower eventually. Why would you not cash out and buy more with the money you made, right? At such a lower price. Because maybe they bought here and they made money here and then they're going to sell here. I mean, they bought here, they sold here, and then they rebought here, right? It's better. You get a better price. So eventually, I think the long term, like the next, 6 months to a year or a few years, I think this is going to come down. Eventually, this will come down because it'll start to liquidate. I think there'll be a panic sell like once we get to like, I think once we get below 30K again, there's going to be a panic sell. And I think, panic sell would start when people are down already, buying in the 50K, 55K area, or who knows, like at the top, basically 57. Some people probably bought today. And if it comes down to 30K, they're going to be half out. Some people are putting their houses on this, right? So they could lose everything. So they're going to get scared. Maybe they might just, pull the plug, save what they got. Otherwise, people are just going to start shorting. Banks will start liquidating. Companies will liquidating. Like there's a lot of companies right now just going all in on Bitcoin. Like who knows if they've ever actually traded before, if they've actually if they know the market or not, right? They're pumping on news, right? If I was new to investing, like for me that was back in 2014, 2015, would I just be buying Bitcoin right now because everybody is? Yeah, I probably would have done that. And that's how you learn, right? Eventually it gets sold off. So it's just an update on Bitcoin. So take care, and I'll see you guys later.